Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 part 1 of my Anatomy of a Shootout series. This series is going to focus on breaking down fights into smaller pieces so that you can see all the higher level parts and pieces involved in it. This episode 1 is going to serve as a pilot, a little bit of an introduction as to how things are going to work, and we're going to break it down slowly. So part 1 is going to be a brief overview with some of the general concepts, and then if you guys like it, tell me which points in this you want, or I'll just pick some myself, and I'll break them down farther in part 2 to give more in-depth stuff on how and why things were decided upon. So we're going to use this minimap I made. We're going to use it for a top-down view of the battlefield and it'll give us some better positional awareness. On this minimap, we're going to represent players with blips. I'm going to be a green blip, enemies will be a red blip, and enemies' last known locations will be shown as a gray or white blip. We're going to start off really easy with this first one. We're going to go over some general things, but we're going to focus mostly on positioning and awareness. To preface this fight, I killed a few teams at Golden Acres while defending the bounty, but the last team wouldn't push in to fight me. I'd used all my dark sight and confirmed there were 3 of them, and since they wouldn't push in for me, I decided to run towards the extract to bait them out. They take the bait and chase me, but they leave the bounty inside of the boss lair, which means they're just completely after me. I won't be able to make it across the field, so I stop at this red house here and we wait for them to catch up to us so we can fight. We hear these crows go off, and that prompts us to peek and gives us an approximate location of where the enemy is. We see 2 of them, we know where one of them is, and we lose track of the second one. We have to keep an eye out for where the third is, however, because we haven't seen him yet. Since we haven't seen the third, once we finish healing here, we take a look on the other side of the red house. We're looking for any information to where he might be. We can't linger too long though, so we jump back to the other fight. While I'm sitting here mulling over what to do and processing information in my head, I see a toolkit. We pick it up, but it's nothing that actually helps with or changes our plan. Stepping out of the red house though, we make contact with the guy on our left again, confirming he's still there. He's still repeaking us on the same angle, but we haven't seen any of his teammates still. That means they have to be doing something with all this free time. It's unlikely they'll sit around and do nothing. When he doesn't re-peek us, we need to immediately start thinking about what that could mean. Well, the most obvious thing here would be to say, but Merrick, you just hit him with a bullet. Of course he's not re-peeking. Well, I'm not talking about just him. We have to keep in mind what his teammates might be doing during this time. He's under heavy pressure right now because he just took a big hit. Are his teammates more likely to sit back and hold an angle while their team's under pressure, or are they going to push? We don't know, but we have to keep a lookout and take any information that we can get. So we need to keep in mind he's not re-peeking. We need to look and figure out what his teammates are doing during this time, in case they aren't just standing by doing nothing. Hearing that twig relieves us of a lot of pressure. Pressure and areas of influence are something I could go into on a part 2 of this video and in future videos if you guys like, but for now what we need to know is that there's a guy over there, and if he's there, that means we're still only missing a single person from earlier. The person that's unaccounted for is most likely the person behind the berm behind the person that we were shooting at. The number 2 in the distance on this overlay. As we come around this building, we make contact again, and it occurs to me that if they fan out hard enough, I won't have cover from all of them at the same time. I consider making a run across the field, but right now is not the time. Hearing that twig, we know someone's pushing our flank. We get prepared and we get a pretty easy kill if they weren't expecting us. This relieves a whole lot of pressure because now it is a 1-on-2 versus a 1-on-3. We are also aware of the other 2 remaining players' locations. We have the guy to our side on the other berm, and then we have the guy to the northwest that is the current one we're making contact with. However, once he doesn't re-peek, we have to go take a check on the other guy rather than let him cross that field. Taking that hit removes a whole lot of pressure off of my enemies. I had a lot of zones where if they peeked out, I could pressure them, hit them, and prevent them from pushing up, but now that I have to heal, they have time to move freely. This is really bad for me. I'm also very low on ammo on my uppercut, and my spark is loaded. We see from that shot that the guy repositioned that I have to reload. I can't fight back. I have basically no pressure in the situation. The only option left for me is to make the run across the field. The reason is because they're going to push up on me, and I don't have any way to fight them back. The field might not look like the best option either, but you have to make the run. Basically, if you stay in your location, you're pinned down and they're going to move up and kill you because they're going to have an easier time when they push up on you, or you can make the run, use the distance as your cover, air quotes, to reduce the chance of them hitting you, and then reposition for later. In this one, I know they're going to chase me because they're greedy, so I take my reload while I'm repositioning, and I wait for them to push up after me. I will likely have time to reload because they're probably going to pick up their guy. Even if one person chases me, one person has to stop and pick up their friend. However, if they split up like that, then I have a 1-on-1 fight, and we basically can talk about the solo advantage. The solo advantage is that you don't have to communicate with other people. You don't have to share information, you don't have to account for what they're doing, all the thought processing happens on your end in real time. You don't need to communicate decisions, you don't need to think about what other people are doing, you just have to react to what's in front of you. That means they're probably going to be a little slower as they talk out who's going to res who, if they're going to res their friend, or if they're going to chase me, which gives me even more time to actually just work on my reload and get ready for the ambush. As I said earlier, they took the bait chasing me instead of picking up the extra bounty, so that means they're most likely going to continue chasing me as opposed to letting me get away. That also means that because of the situation, they're going to be very hasty in trying not to let me get a lead on them, and they're probably going to walk into a trap without checking. And while I could sit here behind this tree and wait for one to walk into me for free, like I said, I'm an aggressive player. I just need them to position far enough up that they need to cross the same field I did. Once they cross that field, I can catch them out without cover and take a fight that is way in my advantage because I will have cover whereas they don't. Right before my monologue there, we heard the hive go off. That means that somebody from their team is pushing up and is trying to chase me. Basically what that means is it's go time. So I was moving to this white house to increase my amount of sightlines, something else we could talk about. But I see him as he's crossing the field, and I get to jump on him, using all the advantages that I can. I don't have cover, but I have this element of surprise, so they won't suspect me. I get a free kill on this first guy, basically because of that fact, and then I push to the rest of them. During that time that guy's dead, though, he has to tell them that, 1, he pushed up and died, 2, I'm coming, and 3, that they might not have time for the res. So while he's trying to communicate all this information, I keep pushing, because I feel like using the confusion caused by him going down suddenly can give me an extra advantage on top of the fact that if I did this correctly, they won't have cover. We see the guy by the house, though, and we see a second one through the window, so while they do have cover, they decide to step out and fight me. But he stays open in the open long enough, and I can take the cleanup. Thank you for taking time to check out my first part and basically my teaser for the Anatomy of a Shootout series. We're going to be working on more of these in the future, but I would like to know what you guys think and what you guys would like to hear about. The more I could go over a whole lot of things, right? But the more I go over, the longer the video is going to be, and I don't know how long you guys want these videos, if you guys even like them. So the things that we could go over here are like pressure, areas of influence, positioning, and solo advantage are some of the few things I could go over just on this episode. But there's a whole lot I could go over for a lot of them, and if you want, I could just do a play-by-play highlighting what I think is important at the time, as opposed to dedicating an entire video to 1 or 2 topics. If you guys don't have anything that you like the sound of, but you do like the videos, please still let me know so I know to continue working on these. But once I find out if people are really interested in these types of videos, I can put more work into them. I can try to figure out what you guys want to learn, and I can try to help provide that to you better. I just need to get some feedback and figure out exactly how you guys feel about these videos, what you do like, what you don't like, and what you do want to hear about. So thanks for taking the time to listen to me ramble and look at my poorly made minimap. It was actually very hard, surprisingly, to get all those moving pieces on there. But I will get better at it as we go along. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys want, and we'll see you next time.